Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of Mid-Tier Thoughts. It's me, your host, Austin, with your co-host, Mike. What's up?
Host with the most, baby.
Hells yeah. Host with the most babies. That would be me. Um, how you been, man?
Yeah, I've been good. How you been?
I've been doing all right. Um, yeah, so long story short, let's go to what are we talking about today?
The consensus that came out onto Instagram.
Yeah, so it turns out everyone thinks Mike has cooler stuff than me. Because I posted a picture of his B&T APC-9 and immediately just got throttled with I'm a poor and he's not. So there's that. But I'm not gonna lie, I'm a little jealous because you are a beautiful man. So there's that too.
I mostly try for you though.
Oh yeah.
I've been trying to get you to leave your wife for years now.
Hey, next time I'm into, I'm already into Latinas, and you're like half. You could pass for it.
There you go. I could pass for Latina. A little mommy.
You're like that kind. You're that kind of Asian where you can pass for just about like almost anything but white.
Pretty much, yeah. Like I've gotten everything under the sun recently. I haven't gotten in a long time, but recently I just got Native American, which that was pretty dope.
Yeah, you pass for all the victimized nations.
It's actually my natural blending in skills. I'm literally ultimate gray man.
I put that on a resume, actually.
Yeah, dude, I'm dark enough that I could fit in with about anyone, but I'm light enough that I don't make white people nervous.
I actually get to walk down the same side of the street as most people, so
exactly. We call it the OJ epidemic.
The OJ epidemic.
Yeah. Like he's guilty, but you're not going to do anything about it. I'm not white. Awesome. You're not going to do anything about it. You're like, he's just white enough.
Hey, for everyone listening too, check out our merch store, www.midtierthoughts.com. Link in the description. We've just launched a couple new shirt designs. My personal favorite, we've got one that says "Carry a gun and suck less," so that's pretty dope. We do have some more like gray man kind of style, like low key t-shirts with some logos on them, as well as a few more that are a bit more aggressive. Mm-hmm. So I also decided to branch out as well. So we have both men and women's cut. I don't think it's really going to be for our listeners because we have 1.8% of our listeners are female, and I'm pretty sure that's my wife and my mom. So, but if they want shirts, we got them.
Dude, we got to hook them up with one. Put it on the Instagram.
Oh, also, shout out to the 0.6 non-binary people that I have, or those who identify as non-binary on my analytics for the podcast.
You know me though, dude. I'm a big live and let live, man.
I'm just curious
if you're like non-binary, fuck, dude. Sure, dude. Why not?
I just kind of figured that on our demographic, I didn't expect there to be 0 point any of them. So
that's because I'm such an easygoing guy. They know I'm
power to you. But yeah, 2023 was an awesome year. So just kind of wrapping things up with that. What? Go ahead.
I said for who?
For us, dude. Like 2023 sucked. Like outside of the podcast, but for the podcast, it was dope.
Yeah, for the podcast, we got growth I never thought we would get.
Yeah, and that's not even with pills.
My wife is a smart ass remark. Hold on. What'd you just say, man? Oh yeah, she's been pregnant the entire last year.
So that's what the podcast does to somebody.
Just gets people pregnant.
That's why we only have 1.8% of female listeners. They're afraid of getting pregnant.
They're forgetting.
But yeah.
That's why we don't have any non-binary listeners. That comment right there. Women are good for nothing. Cooking, cleaning, and getting pregnant.
So just kind of like throwing some stats out here. I know I posted these on our Instagram, but I just want to kind of revisit these real quick, and just huge shout out to you guys that listen, and thank you so much for supporting us. What I thought was really cool is the fact that currently we something on the ballpark of like we are the top #1 podcast for like 300 people.
300?
Which means Yeah,
That's an
which means
incredible
that
number.
I'm super humbled by that for the fact that 300 of you have no one else better to listen to.
No,
But
let
yeah,
alone
so our
like I thought 300 people would even listen to our voices once. So that's pretty.
right. So we are our episode 22, our first off the rails SHTF scenario, that one where we tried to talk about a civil war, like what would we do or whatever, and it just kind of devolved.
Oh,
Number one episode.
really?
Yeah, streamed 91% more than the rest of our episodes.
I hardly even remember that episode. No, I think that whole
Uh
episode, me and you were just like going off.
yeah, that we just those ones tend to perform the best, surprisingly. We were streamed in 18 countries,
Yeah,
which that blows my mind. Now I'm sure some of that might be VPN stuff, but still,
yeah. Because
our top
I always appreciate it about our listeners, dude.
our top five countries that listen to us is the U.S., Canada, Australia, Poland, and Germany.
Mm-hmm.
And the other thing that we had, let me get this. I'm trying to get to the stat real quick. I just had it pulled up. 1 second. There we go. Yeah. So here's the part that blows my mind. So I misspoke earlier about the 300% thing. So, or the 300 top tens. This is what it is. We are in the top 10 for 300 people. We are in the top 5 for 1 second.
Still better than I fucking ever thought.
God, this thing takes forever. Yeah, top 10 for 303 fans, top 5 for 201, and we are the number one podcast for 57 people.
Oh, nice. So those 57 people are RGs. Those are our homies.
Absolutely.
Fuck everyone else.
So
You're all a bunch of fakes. All three. No.
So yeah, I think overall, like just to kind of clean house in the beginning here, like thank you guys so much. It's been really humbling to see people gravitate towards this, and it's been really awesome checking the analytics as we get more listeners. We want to offer you more and more stuff going into 2024. That being said, I've spent a good amount of time, and I'm going to probably finish it up tomorrow and the next day, transferring all of our episodes over to YouTube. So you can find us both on Spotify and on YouTube. And if you find us on YouTube, it'll be at the same thing, Mid-Tier Thoughts. So we will start uploading those. I've also been experimenting with some video editing stuff. So we might have some more video stuff that will hopefully translate over to video podcasts. It might, in the beginning, full honesty, just be kind of some B-roll in the background until we figure out good video recording stuff with audio at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
But in the meantime, we'll at least be able to roughly kind of sort of have some visuals with what we're talking about, which will kind of expand our options a little bit. I know it's kind of hard to talk about chest rigs, for example, without having a lot of visuals. So moving forward, we'll be able to have some more of that. So I think that'll be a pretty sweet upgrade.
Yeah, definitely. Also, I want to experiment into running like a Discord and like getting into like maybe playing some games and just talking some bullshit. Doing something like an hour or something like that, which is dedicated to people that want to pop in and just talk and BS for a little bit.
So we do have a Discord link through the Patreon, and so I'll put the Patreon
stuff like that.
What was that?
Like
What was that?
playing games, almost like a Twitch.
Yeah. What I was thinking about is the Patreon hasn't really panned out all that well, so I think I might. I'm not sure how long we're going to continue that unless that picks up. So we might wind up just doing the Discord thing for there that already exists and turn it into that. But we'll see how that goes.
Yeah, dude, definitely. I think that would be cool because like last live stream they were asking a ton about like what game are you playing? Like what are you doing? Like what's going on? And like that'd be kind of cool.
Yeah, I think it'd be easier to do that too for some of you guys listening. And I know for me, it's hard to. It always feels weird when it's a one-way conversation, just answering questions in text. So if there's a way we could do that voice-wise, that'd be fantastic.
Mm-hmm. Which still looking for someone that can do audio stuff that knows it better than us.
But moving forward, today we're going to be talking about loadouts, different types of loadouts for different situations. We'll see kind of where that goes. I'm thinking more along the lines of kind of stuff that we do every day, but let's just see where the wind takes us. So, Mike, let's start off easy. EDCs.
Oh, EDC's very, very simple for me, dude. I've been really lacking online lately. I'll be honest with you. I've been super slacking. I don't know. Ever since this kid's coming and all that stuff. Don't get me wrong. Safety for my family and just like training, everything like that has been kind of on the back burner. Um, but I'm still keeping it, first in mind, like being prepared and getting my family in a safe position in life and stuff like that. But I think my number one carry right now is just like Glock 19, wallet, phone, and I don't even carry a knife right now.
Not even a knife right now.
No,
Just
knife.
Glock
Just
19
because.
in a wallet.
Yep, guy Glock 19, wallet, phone, dude, and I'm out the door just because I've just been so busy and haven't needed much for my everyday carry. We do a lot of home sitting since the wife is like 9 months pregnant right now.
I get you, man. I get
Basically,
you.
since 7 months, we've been chilling at home all the time. But normally, I'm
Nice.
like carrying the tourniquet, carrying a knife, carrying like the radio in the truck, things like that.
Sweet.
Mhm.
Well, yeah. I mean, on my EDC, I'm usually either rocking a Glock 26 or a Glock 19. Pretty bare bones gun, night sights. Usually have a flashlight on me, pocket knife, wallet, cell phone.
That's where me and you
Um,
differ, though, on that. Is that I don't like if I'm running a gun, my gun's balls to the walls. Like I'm talking, I got Trijicon everything or like enclosed optic flashlight on it. So I got like the what is it, the TLR 7 or whatever, the Streamlight,
yeah.
or it's
Yeah,
got
you got the
the
small streamlight on there.
yeah, or it's the turbo, the what is it? What the hell is it called?
It's the TLR 7, isn't it?
No, I'm thinking about the other one, the X300 turbo. There we go.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Or I'm carrying like the Glock 17 with that on it in the winter times.
Nice. Yeah, I mean, I'm usually rocking, like I said, just night sights on there. I usually have a flashlight with me. Um, I've been debating on putting a light on my carry gun. I just haven't got around to doing it yet. But I mean, I've been carrying without one for a long time. I don't nothing wrong with carrying one with it. Um,
Yes, there is.
this the only MOS the only MOS gun I have is my Glock 34,
Oh.
and I'm not carrying that. So
Why not, dude? In the wintertime, I
uh,
grab a fucking Drake
chunky
on my
boy,
chest.
chunky boy. But
Right?
yeah, so I mean that's kind of my EDC. I'll usually have a tourniquet like in the vehicle or in my backpack or somewhere near me. That's like it's just a basic EDC. But yeah, I mean that's kind of the bare bones for me. I'm usually got a decent pocket knife. One of the guys at work has kind of started to turn me onto some nicer knives. I still kind of have a mental block on being able to pay a ton of money for a knife. I know we just had the talk on Instagram Live yesterday about the whole buy once cry once thing, but I don't know, man. Sometimes I'm just like, I don't know
Okay,
if I'm really going to be
realistically,
doing
bro, let's be honest with ourselves because we're all gig
right,
achievers. What do you do with that knife? Even at work,
right,
like right now, I'm working a construction job, right? I don't even use my
right,
knife because I use a cheap razor blade because I can just swap out blades all the time. I don't have to worry about using my
right,
expensive knife on it. We cut boxes at most. There's a
right.
lot of you guys that are like my fucking homies and are super prepared, do tons of training. Do you got a desk job, homie? What are you gonna cut with a knife in finance?
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those things where it's like I get having a pimped out knife in your kit for like end of the world type stuff or like on your
Yeah.
carrier or something like that. But like as far as an EDC knife goes, I don't know. I think for me it's one of those things where I don't feel like I do enough to justify like I don't do enough with a knife on my daily life to
Mhm.
justify having like a $300 or even $100. I think the most expensive knife I have that I generally carry is one of my CRKT knives, and it was I don't know. I think the sticker price was like $100, but I paid less than that because I worked at the store.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I think it's like the most expensive knife I have is something like that. And I just don't do a lot of knife stuff. If I was doing these kind of like YouTube videos where these dudes go out in the woods and you know use a pocket knife and just start hacking away and making like cabins, out of hopes and dreams, then like yeah, I'd probably want a pimp ass knife. But I don't know. Like I
Mhm.
definitely want to get some good stuff and I definitely want to learn more about it. But I also I think probably maybe part of it's a lack of education. But for
Yeah.
me, like as long as it's a decent knife and it's not some gas station crap with like a tiger on it, you're probably okay.
Dude, if a
I don't
crackhead
know.
can survive with that cheap ass gas station knife, it's good enough for anyone.
Right?
And
Uh,
secondly, like even if you're like, oh, what about in a situation where someone gets too close and I pull out my knife and defend myself? The idea of you thinking that you're going to stab someone in a realistic self defense situation is comical. It really is.
well, right. Well, I mean,
If
like
you have
even if
the
it did,
chance to get to your knife, you have a chance to get to your gun.
and even if it did come down to a knife thing, at that point, like I don't know, maybe I'm just not a big enough knife guy, but I feel like at that point, stabby metal going body, you know, like whatever kind of blade you have, whether it's slashing, stabbing, cutting, whatever, just start hacking. Like
No,
there's there's really no good way to win a knife fight.
I just think it's the most unrealistic situation that you're ever going to be put in your whole life is that you're going to have to stab your way out of it.
Now this is also the guy who's rolling around with an APC 9 in his backpack, so
That is for active duty shooting. That thing is fucking dope, dude. It's a
I do
runaway
it. I do it because I can.
because it's a runaway bag. It's amazing. Most of the time, it's just okay. I'm not gonna say that because I don't want anyone to break into my vehicle or something like that. But it's sitting in a location that I can get to. Please don't break my windows. I like my tinted windows. It's not in my truck.
Man, got the
I
black
keep
lung pop.
I keep that gun halfway for my John Wick fantasies. I know it's a very unrealistic
Yes.
situation where I'm gonna have to whip out an APC 9 with over 300 rounds
Yeah.
and use my fucking. I mean, it's realistic. I could use the medical stuff inside it because I have a whole IFAK inside of it.
So I guess let's let kind of goes to my next thing. So we kind of covered like basic EDCs. So
Yeah.
let's kind of say like our extended EDCs, like what we keep in the vehicle that's not necessarily gun,
Yeah.
right? Um, again, don't break into my vehicle. But for me,
Yeah.
keep a fully loaded IFAK in there. I know I've put videos out on this before. You're way more likely to use an IFAK than you ever are to use your firearm, and realistically in the same type of scenarios. And I can tell you right now, like since starting this podcast, I've stopped to help at least two people during traffic accidents where one person wound up being totally fine. The other person did require a little bit of medical help, and I was able to help out with having an IFAK on hand,
Yeah.
and that's just two times. That's like, I guess, two times in the last 2 years, roughly. Um, so yeah, it's definitely one of those things where also, car accidents are way more likely than shootings. So you're more likely to do that. Having a tourniquet on there can definitely save lives. But yeah, I have a fully loaded IFAK, basic car kit, jumper cables, flares, roadside kit, things like that.
Yeah.
This time of year too, I usually have some of those like space blanket, well, not space, not like the thin, cheap, shiny ones, but
Hmm.
like the thicker, like fire prevention slash like keep you warm hypothermia style blankets.
Oh yeah.
In the car, usually a pair of boots if I'm not wearing them,
Uh-huh.
and then gloves and a hat and a thing of water. And I usually have like an MRE stashed under the seat or something, and flashlights.
Ooh yeah.
So,
That's a big one.
what about you, man? Anything on there that I missed?
Nothing that you miss. I haven't really kept a lot of shit in my truck lately. I'll be honest with you, just because
Yeah,
I haven't had a lot of long rides or anything like that. Like I said, we've been hermits ever since she's been like 7 months. So,
yeah, yeah.
also, just because you keep stuff like that in your vehicle, you have to swap it out. Stuff like that doesn't stay good forever, fellas. I know you think it's
Yeah.
good, even though it was manufactured in 2004. It's probably not good.
And that goes with a lot of things. Like I usually keep one or two flashlights in like the center console of my dash.
Yeah,
But
swapped out the batteries, fellas.
right, I usually have like a good one. I usually keep like a good streamlight in there, and then I'll usually have like some cheap Walmart crap in there
Yeah.
for something. And like the ones you can get like a 5 pack for like $10 or something. And those ones, the batteries die this time of year all the time. It's less than 30 degrees outside. It's cold as crap, and it's gonna get like single digits here pretty soon.
Yeah.
So those batteries die quickly. So it's nice to, check in on that stuff. Oh, a headlamp, that's another thing I keep in there. So it's nice to keep keep tabs on that kind of thing before you need it. Just kind of occasionally, every so often, just kind of check when you think about it. Um, but yeah, especially like with the medical stuff, you throw your IFAC in your car, don't just assume that because you touched it in 8 years that everything in there is still good. That
Yeah.
stuff,
It's
some
hot
of
and
that stuff
cold.
does expire.
Yeah.
Hot and cold is another big thing with that too.
Mhm.
Check on your stuff, right? Make sure like when it's 110 degrees out and you got your car in there, that stuff's like, isn't batteries aren't popping in cheap flashlights and that, everything in your IFAC's still good.
Yeah.
Same thing with any kind of like perishables or like food items or MREs, anything like that you're keeping in the vehicle. Check on that kind of stuff.
Yeah. I think I've had like a gallon of milk fermenting underneath my seat for like a year now. Yeah.
That's disgusting.
I'm keeping it there just in case I need it, dude.
Just in case I need it. Daddy needs some milk. That's gross.
Dude,
That's terrible. That you
100%.
don't even need a car alarm at that point.
No one wants to break in there, dude.
So you're gonna hear a window break and just yeah,
uh,
man. What about you? Anything on that list I missed?
yeah, comms. I keep a Baofeng on me typically.
Yeah. I
Mhm.
usually don't have a bow thing in the vehicle unless I'm going like out of town. Like if I'm just driving to work. Actually, okay, I guess that's kind of a lie because I do usually have one in my backpack.
Yeah.
Um, so let's kind of get into that then too. So
Yeah.
I
So,
kind of have like, go ahead.
oh no, I was just gonna go off about my backpack loadout, dude.
Yeah, yeah, go ahead.
So my backpack loadout is my total John Wick fantasy, bro. Is realistically probably never gonna happen. I'm never gonna have to use it, but I take a lot of pride in my backpack loadout because I think in this situation where having like a truck gun or anything like that is like a really irresponsible thing to do. Um, because you get your truck broken into, you lose a firearm, you lose your whole IFAC, you lose all that money you just put into that. So a backpack loadout is way more realistic in my eyes. And with that, I have the BNT. I have like 300 rounds in there, like super unrealistic amount of rounds. But the 9mm long Glock mags, I mean, you can stick them everywhere in those Vertex bags. They have like pockets for them everywhere. And then I keep an IFAC in there. It has level 3A body armor in the back. So I do this thing where I pull out the BNT real fast and I slap the suppressor on it and I put the backpack on my chest and strap it down, like in the Instagram video Instagram photo that we put up. Like I wear it on my
Yeah,
and I can still it acts as like a plate carrier.
yeah,
And then I
yeah.
have
That
all my
that's smart.
straps in front. Mm-hmm.
That's pretty smart, man.
I also keep like a flashlight in there and like I said, IFAC medical shit. I also keep aspirin, Advil, and like just some bandages.
You see, yeah, I've got my bag's not quite as big as yours, so I've just got like one of those Vertex sling bags, like one of their
Yeah.
smaller ones.
Mm-hmm.
So with that, like I don't like leaving guns unattended in a vehicle. So unless I'm traveling like out of town to another location, like like a family member, like when I'll bring a rifle platform with me or like a PCC. But other than that, like my bag usually has a couple extra 17 round Glock mags, and then I usually have one of my fixed blade knives in there, my column setup, my one an IFAC, and then uh, just whatever else other stuff I happen to have at the time. I'll kind of use it as like also throw my lunch in there, and water bottle, a few other things, but just kind of more of an extension of my like what I'm already carrying as an EDC. The bag's kind of nondescript, doesn't really scream gun guy, and
Yeah.
I'll just have a few other odds and ends like a poncho, gloves, things like that, and like I said, a few other magazines, lighter, just kind of stuff to where it's like, hey, you know, if the whole idea is like I'm close enough to the house that I could potentially be home in a day. I don't necessarily have to have a rifle on me to feel good about it, but I might need more than just the two mags I have on me. So I'll throw a couple extra in the bag and away I go. But yeah, that's just if the bag was bigger, I'd totally rock a PCC setup in there. I think my Scorpion might fit in a bag like yours. Maybe mine might be a little big
Yeah,
because you got to
mine's
dip.
super small.
Yeah, but other than that, yeah, I mean, I think that that's a really smart move for that. With the bag that you have that size, and it doesn't look like that's the biggest thing is like not having a bag. Um, about having a bag that doesn't scream gun guy. Nothing with Molly, nothing in a camo pattern, nothing that's like super tactical.
No,
Vertex makes
no patches, nothing.
Yeah, Vertex makes a lot of like really hiker looking backpacks. Really, they do them in really like North Face jacket style colors. You
Or
know, it,
Seattle drip. I live like you got to look at the clothes in your area too.
yeah,
A lot of people
exactly.
in Seattle wear stuff like that because it rains a lot. So, and there's a lot of tech here in Seattle. So a lot of people carry laptops with them. So it's like the size of a laptop bag.
Exactly. That's the thing is, if you're the dude walking around with, a 3-day assault pack, all tactical out in Mali, or even one of those ones just says US on it, and it's just because you had it issued or you found it at a surplus store or whatever.
In
And
Texas might be fine. I've seen a
well,
ton of people in Texas walk around with that shit.
yeah, that's what I was going to say is like know your environment, right? Like in the area where I live, that wouldn't be terribly out of place, right? But you in certain parts of the city or at certain jobs, it would definitely look out of place, right? If you are going to like a really nice office job and you're packing that, it might look out of place. Whereas, if you're a construction worker or working in a more manual labor field, it's probably right on par with what everybody else is packing. So kind of know your environment and carry towards that and adjust whatever you're using for that. And find things that are multi-purpose, like if you have a laptop bag that you already have, yeah, it's got other pockets. If you're not already using them, I'm pretty sure you can find a way to put a couple magazines and maybe even a gun in there, maybe some medical items.
I saw this one dude. It was like on this Gray Man page. Follow. Jesus Christ. He
Words
took
are
all
hard.
his old toolboxes, like the hard toolboxes, and he carved them out, and he put
Mhm.
soft foam in there, and he just carried his guns around the job site like that in toolboxes.
That's pretty dope.
Yeah, I was like, dude, that's a good idea.
Yeah. And that's one thing to keep in mind too, is like even so let's say you have a loadout like that, like you're like for going to work, right?
Mhm.
If you are going to work in an environment where you may not be able to physically have the gun on your body, so you have to have it in a bag of some type, like a laptop bag or something, be mindful of that, and hopefully you have a way to secure it or to
Yep.
put it somewhere that's not visible, not in the way of everybody. No one else is going to have access to it. Is kind of what I'm getting at.
I put mine
You
in my
know,
lunchbox.
you put yours in your where?
I just put mine in my lunchbox.
Yeah, see
Around the
there. So yeah, something like that, something to where if you be smart about it, right? Just be smart about it. You don't want to lose your job. You also don't want to lose your gun.
Yeah, and you don't want to lose your life.
Exactly. Um, but yeah, man. So I think I think those are some pretty sweet loadouts between the two of us. I think it makes, a little biased opinion, but I think it makes a lot of sense. I see sometimes these guys, sometimes guys are like, oh, I've got my 300 blackout in here, and I got this, and I got that, and this, I got a plate carrier in here. Like I've seen some YouTube videos where it's like by the time the guy's done packing his backpack to go to work at his 9 to 5 office job,
Hmm.
or like his checkout job at a hardware store, he's got enough stuff to like kill bin Laden. Feel like
How many
38
worked
pounds
with
of crap in his
people?
lunchbox. Huh?
How many people have we worked with that were like that?
Oh, dude. Well, I mean, like, so working at a gun shop, you kind of expect it because everyone wants to show stuff off. But I mean, dude, there was one dude
Dude,
who
that was
comes in and he's got like, well, prime example, dude. We used to work with a guy who I think that guy had at least 4 guns on him at all times.
yeah. We also worked with a guy that now works for a different gun manufacturer. Well, not gun manufacturer, but gun accessory manufacturing and stuff like that. That used to carry a 300 blackout in a bag every day.
Now, granted, if you can get away with it, absolutely. I'm not telling you not to do it.
That's pretty
Um,
excessive, dude. That's pretty crazy. We were working a
uh,
glorified desk job, in my opinion.
yeah, I mean, I think it just depends on the environment, right? It's like one of those things where I know I go back and forth on this, where a part of me is like, yeah, I mean, never be outgunned,
Exactly.
and the other part of me is also saying, like, realistically though, like, so like I think of it this way, right? Like the place I work at, right? Um, I don't necessarily bring a white rifle with me as much anymore, just because I feel like I'm pretty squared away with my pistol being
Yeah.
set up with extra magazines in the bag. I can get away with doing that. I don't scream, hey, look at me. The other thing I was thinking about this with this too is my where I work and where I live is a half-hour drive, right?
Hmm.
If I have to leave, I like my so any way for me to bring a rifle, I don't have like a clandestine way outside of a separate bag to bring a
Yeah.
rifle, right? And if everyone's like, oh, what if the grid goes down, something like that? Like, sure, that. But if it's just something like my car dies, or if for some reason like I have to walk, car goes off in the snow, something like that. I don't want to have to be like in normal times walking down the street with an AR.
Yeah.
It's not very gray, man. And I don't want to have to lug around an extra bag.
It's actually
And
a
and
way
and even
to
in
people
go
to.
ahead.
It's a really good way to piss a lot of people off. Those YouTube
Yeah,
videos and Facebook videos piss me off because, like, yeah, it's my God-given right to carry his rifle, but it does scare people.
right. Well, and even in an environment where, let's say it is a grid down scenario, like the EMP has hit, the lights are off, I'm stuck at work and I got to walk 30 miles home. I don't want to drag all that attention to me. And
Yeah.
realistically, like order is not going to break down that fast,
Mhm.
right? Because the first day is probably just going to be most people trying to figure out what the hell's going on. And so I can make that walk in a day and get home, and I can do it just like looking like everybody else. And if anything does arise, I'm not unarmed. I've got my pistol on me and I've got multiple magazines. So like I'm good there, but I don't have to be looking like John Rambo walking down the way, trying to get screwed with by everybody.
First day, and cops are all jumpy and shit.
Well, yeah, that too. You got a ton of different issues. A ton of different potential things that come on there. Or for some of you guys that are in larger cities or in cities where that might not be a very permissible, it's not a great option, in my opinion, to do that. Now, I'm not saying don't carry a rifle. Absolutely, take as much gun as you possibly can. It's just that for me in my scenario, it doesn't make a lot of sense for me to bring one with me because the cons kind of outweigh the pros in realistically for day to day. And so
Yeah.
looking at that from like a training scenario too, and I'm guilty of this, like shooting the rifle stuff is sexy. And I'm more of a rifle dude than a pistol guy, but I should like if I were to divide my training,
Hmm.
I should probably realistically be doing about 70% pistol and about 30% rifle.
Yeah. Yeah, that's realistic. And from concealed.
Yes, from
Not under
concealed.
cover.
Right. Um, and I don't know when I did the Dick and drill a while back with my 26 and my 19. I even did it with my 1911 because hashtag FUD life. Uh, and yeah, I was like, I didn't do too bad. So I thought it was pretty good. And but it was kind of a thing to see like, okay, can I perform at a certain level? And that's why I like doing things like we have these fun shoots at the gun shop I work at. And so the idea is you shoot kind of a one stage of a USPSA or pistol kind of competition, right? And they do them every Thursday. And if you're in the greater Spokane area, go to Sharpshooting Indoor Range and Gun Shop on Thursdays, anytime at Thursday. Go run the fun shoot. You'll have a great time. But find some place near you where you can do stuff like that and where you can do it from concealed, which is the nice part about doing it where I'm at because like it's not an actual competition. You're not trying to actually like compete and win a prizes or anything. So you can do it from concealed. And I know I've been posting videos of me running carbines and stuff lately. And realistically, I should probably be running it more from concealment than
I
I
used to
do.
always run it from concealment.
What was that?
I'll send you some videos about Instagram. I used to always run it concealment.
Yeah, you always did. You always ran from the concealment, which I thought was awesome. And it's a good way to just get out there and kind of experience like what you're facing potentially and like doing a little shoot and moving and getting a little adrenaline pumping and moving with your gun and reloading on the fly. And I tell you one thing, one day I switched up the way I carry my magazines. I normally have it on like a little pocket clip in my left hand pocket, and I
Mhm.
had switched up and I put it in my back pocket for some reason. And I tell you, I went to go do that reload and muscle memory kicked in, and I'm like, where's my magazine?
That would
So
be
if you switch,
that's a
if you,
complete panic mode.
yeah, I'm just like, I swear I had one, and this is during just like a fun competition thing. So like, thank God it wasn't a life threatening scenario. But, um,
Yeah.
another thing I hear all the time at the gun shop about EDCs, just kind of going on this, and I got to get this out there. The amount of times I hear people argue about capacity by saying things like, well, if you need more than 7 rounds, like you're probably in a bad situation to begin with. It's like, homie, if you need 1 round, you're in a bad situation. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like if you need to draw your gun at all, you're already in a bad situation.
Yeah,
So
you're
like whenever people, you talk about magazine size on like different carry guns, and it's like the Glock 43 versus the Glock 43X. I understand like the 43 is a little bit smaller in the grip and a little bit easier to conceal, but realistically, you can probably conceal a 43X just as easily,
yeah.
right? And how many times I'll hear people be like, "Well, yeah, but I mean, like, if I need 10 rounds over 6, like, I'm in a bad situation anyway," or like, "God didn't want you to be there," and it's like, dude, if you need 1 round in the first place, God probably didn't want you to be there. You know what I mean?
If people say that, I used to like just bring up the analytics of police shootings where they shoot somebody in the chest 13 times, and I'm like, yeah, no, I'm sure your 1911 is better than my Glock.
Well, and it's like, look, man, I get the idea that, realistically, on average, most shootings, most defensive shootings are 2 to 3 rounds within 2 to 3 seconds, from a distance of about 2 to 3 yards, right?
Dude,
I
does
understand that.
yeah,
I understand that. But that's why it's the average. There are outliers where there are more and there are less. And we've all seen the police footage where some dude's just getting pumped full of rounds and he keeps going. We've all seen CCTV footage of like people getting in gunfights like that, normal dudes where that kind of stuff happens. It's not like, unless you get a shot in the tee box, man, between the eyes, it is not a one shot drop. So this whole idea of that, like, I don't want to be the one guy that has that issue. The other thing too, and like I've heard this people about like that don't carry spare magazines. And my whole thing on that is the reason I carry a spare magazine is not because I'm like, oh man, the 12 rounds in my Glock 26 isn't enough. I need another 15 so that way I have 27 rounds minimum in case, crap hits the fan. It's not that I anticipate engaging 27 rounds worth of target. It's that I know that things can have flaws, and if I have an ammunition issue or if I have any kind of issue, if I get anything where I have to tap rack bang to clear a malfunction,
mm-hmm.
I don't even want to have to think about it. Don't If it's a height of the moment thing, it's like get the mag out, pop in a new one, start over,
Yeah,
right?
or I'll just show them 100,000 videos where a cop gets in a gunfight or a normal civilian. I saw one with a normal civilian gets in a gunfight and their fucking gun gets shot.
Yeah.
That more than you think.
Actually, I mean, I just watched a video footage today of a guy who again, two law enforcement officers roll up on a guy. He decides he's going to go down shooting. So he opens up. The first cop falls back, gets one shot off, and then had to tap rack bang and get rid of the magazine. Don't know what happened, but he had to reload immediately. Got one shot off, and then like second one jammed up on him. Tap rack bang, replaced the magazine, went to town. And so if he didn't have that spare magazine, like if someone else out there carrying doesn't have a spare magazine on him, that you're just hoping that so many things go right, right? And the
Yeah,
whole point of being like this whole modern minute thing, man, thing is you're planning for things to go wrong, right? So you can be prepared for them. And so for me, it's like I know my gear and I know my equipment to the point that I know that it won't fail. But in the event that it does, because my Glock 26 and my Glock 19, they're just machines, right? They're subject to failure and they're subject to user error. And if something goes wrong, I'd like the ability just to drop the magazine, you drop the magazine, wrap the bag round out, pop in a new one, and go back to town if I need to.
yeah, yep. And also say this out loud with me, and like just see if this sounds right. Right? I don't need to store any food, or I don't need to can any food because I have a garden.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. It's the same type of thing, man. It's the same type of thing. 100%. It's the same type of deal
You're putting
where,
1,000% faith that that garden's gonna work.
right. It's this, it's just like that idea of putting on a seatbelt after, you're like, oh, I don't need to wear a seatbelt. I'll just put it on right before I get hit. You know,
Yeah.
um, it's the same type of deal. So that's one thing that kind of gets me when it comes to EDCs, and not having a spare magazine. I feel like your gun comes with more than one magazine to begin with.
It's almost like they know things like this happens.
Yeah, it's like, hey, not only do you get to have more ammunition on you, but should the event that one of these things fail, you have another one.
But
Actually, Clint Smith has a great thing on this. Actually, so
I also don't
this
want
one.
to. Clint Smith is also. I'm iffy on him because he's also the kind of bud that's like, why would I carry a polymer gun? I carry a 1911 at 38 special in my sock.
Right, but hear me out. Hear me out though. For the spare magazine thing, so he's got a story about him when he was a cop, and he's responding. He's got a 1911 on his hip. He's responding to a call. Opens the door, gets out, feels something snag, and hears 7 rounds hit the deck. Ding 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 ding. What had happened was something on the seatbelt had snagged on the floor plate of his 1911 magazine, popped it out, and he lost all his rounds
in a matter of seconds.
like guns in the holster, no ammo in it. Something like that, something simple like that. Hey, now you've got a spare mag. Fantastic.
Glad you have that.
Exactly. So that, and it's like, I don't know, just the idea of gun choice. I also don't see the point for most people in choosing something like a 43 or like a first gen shield, if given the choice to have other things, simply because of the fact that there are so many like micro compacts now that have double stack magazines where you got like SIG 365 with 10, 12, 15, 17 round variants, things like that.
Even 1911s that are double stacked.
Yeah, even the 1911's a double stack now. Which, okay, I gotta address the elephant in the room here real quick. I was talking to somebody. So the 365 AXG Legion has recently come out, right?
Mm-hmm. I haven't seen it.
Okay,
I want to
so
look it up.
the 365 macro, right?
Yeah,
Okay,
it's actually pretty dope.
so it's that, but in a Legion, so it's like a big heavy metal gun with a magwell.
Oh, we're going back in time.
That's exactly what I said. I was like, the whole point of the 365 when it like this is just like we've talked with the iron sights thing about coming back to carry handle height. Everything is cyclical. 10 millimeter is popular again. Metal frame guns are popular again. 1911s, now double stacked, are popular again, right? Double stack 1911s in 10 mil, which 6 years ago we'd have laughed you out of the room for being a super FUD, right?
Yep.
Now that's like a super cool thing. And then on top of all of this, we take the SIG 365, which started its life as the smallest micro compact on the market with the highest capacity. The whole point was really tiny gun, whole lot of rounds, and we just made it bigger. We went to the X, same gun, longer grip. Then the XL, same gun, longer grip, longer slide. Then we went to the macro. Okay, it's basically a 320 cut in half.
Yep, it's a 320 compensator.
And then they're like, now make it metal. We've just gone back. We've gone back to like the late 80s, early 90s before the polymer Wonder Nines, and everything's just big, heavy metal. Like we're going back to hammer fired stuff now.
Which is crazy to me, yeah. FNs are super popular again.
FNs. And then like the on the rifle side, right? We went from low optic mounted 5.56s to carry handle heights to retro guns becoming popular again. Now the Army's adopted the new SIG rifle, and we've gone from 5.56 to battle rifle cartridges. So the world has just taken 70 years to get there, but we're going back to 1950.
Yeah, I'm waiting for fucking Hawaiian shirt to be cool again.
Well, I mean, like, think about it, dude. Like, schools are segregating people.
Mm-hmm.
We got guns and heavy calibers again. We got metal framed pistols.
Yeah.
Like, on the edge of another. Like, we're talking about going to war with Russia. Like, it's just the 50s again.
Just this time, you can be a girl or a boy. Oh, your choice.
Yeah, exactly. Right. This time, instead of being a hippie, you get to be non-binary.
He's kind of gay. He's a big hippie,
just
a little
just
gay.
kind of gay.
Yeah.
But
With that, and I'm a very accepting guy. I'm way more accepting than you, of course, because you have your religion and everything like that, where you obviously have beliefs that where you don't support that stuff, and that's totally fine. It's your choice. That's
right,
valid.
we just have differences of opinion when it comes to
Yeah,
certain things.
where I don't really care at all. Like, be non-binary, do whatever you want. Just don't touch my guns. Like, we're fine. And the government's always lying to you. Know that. Like, the government's never your friend. So
Yeah.
with that in mind, there was a coworker I had that was a woman, he thought. So he was transitioning to a woman and he wanted to be called a woman. I was like, sure, no problem, sis. I got you. But he was dating she was dating a guy that was a woman that now identified as a man. And I kind of
This is just this
I
is
thought
just
about the
a
situation. Yeah. Or
this is
he was also poly. So I don't know if you know what poly is, which
yeah,
means
yeah,
you
like you could have more
relationships.
than one couple.
Yeah. So he was poly with another transgender woman that used to be a man. And I kind of looked at him one day and I was like, that sounds pretty gay with a lot of steps. And I
Yeah,
don't
this
know.
just sounds like a straight relationship with extra steps. Like he's just a bisexual dude.
Yeah. I don't know, dude.
I
I,
don't know. That's the stuff. Like, there's just so many acronyms at a certain point where I'm like, too long, didn't read.
yeah.
Uh,
I'm just like, dude, if you like having sex with everyone, just say that. You don't have to make up a whole fake sexual thing for it. You don't have to be
yeah,
like non-gendered, binary, poly this. I'm like, dude, just say you like having sex with a lot of people and you're kind of a slut.
yeah. You can just walk in and be like, "Hi, I'm Jeff. I'm a whore."
Yeah, I like sleeping with guys and girls, and I'm kind of loose with it. Like, you don't have to make up a whole gender.
Yeah, you don't have to just start making up words.
Yeah, shit up to feel special. Just because your name's not on the keychain doesn't mean you're like crazy cool. You know that, right?
Oh man.
Well, I feel
All
like
right.
everyone just wants to be special.
So final loadout.
Mm-hmm.
Russians are falling from the sky. You opened the door to your gun room.
Mm-hmm.
You're gearing up with what you currently have.
Mm-hmm.
What are you wearing?
I'm wearing completely naked with a bandolier of shotgun 12 gauge shells, only birdshot, and a very legal size shotgun. If you catch my drift.
Is it single shot? Break action?
Oh, 100%.
Oh yeah. Are they?
Oh,
Is there a banjo involved?
let's just say the first troop I catch is not going to be very happy. Because guess what? The boys got to get their frustration out one way or another. Got to put
we'll
them.
make we'll make him as an example. This children is what we call a sacrificial lamb.
And let's just say he's never going to be the same. He's going to look over his shoulder for the rest of his life.
That went in a way darker banjo way than I anticipated.
You got a full mouth of teeth, don't you, boy?
Oh man, that's awesome. Well, well, guys, um, thanks for listening to this one. I don't really know where else to go from here.
I really hope the European people just like have no idea what we're fucking talking about.
Dude, I don't think the European mind can comprehend the level of fuckery that we've just anticipated in the last 49 minutes.
What is a banjo?
Why'd you say it like a Nazi?
I said it like a German, and you just put Nazi.
Look, as an American, all accents
that are slightly German or Nazi.
Actually, you ever notice, like in movies, every bad guy is British or Russian? It doesn't matter the nationality.
Oh yeah, everybody. It's because
Every bad guy,
yeah,
British dudes with blatant British accents have played a variety. Like they've played Russians, and it's like the dude's just speaking in English with an English accent, and he's a Russian. You're like you couldn't find one dude to say like "da," you know?
I don't know. I feel like Russians are so played out though.
Yeah. We gotta find it. I wonder if we're gonna start having like Chinese bad guys now, like things shift with the times,
You already have them though. They're like I feel like that was early 2000s is where what's it called? Chinese was like too.
Yeah, that was kind of thing. Yeah, the whole Rush Hour series. Yeah, we kind of played that out too.
Exactly. I'm waiting for no, because we already did Mexicans too. Because that was
Yeah,
like
cartel.
yeah.
Aussies to get fucked.
You know what? We're going back to the 50s, dude. Let's pick up the what were they called? What was it? Back to the Future.
What?
The Lebanons. Yeah, let's bring back the Lebanese.
The greasers?
Dude, the Lebanese, dude. Let's bring them back. You don't remember that in Back to the Future?
Well, sorry, what was that? My headset cut out there.
You don't remember that in Back to the Future? Like the
No.
main bad guy that come in the van with the RPG and like kill
Oh,
the
yeah.
the Lebanese.
Yeah.
The scientist promised that he would fucking build them a nuke with
Yes.
the stolen uranium.
Yes, I remember now. It's been a long time since I've seen that movie.
Oh yeah.
All right, man. Well, I think that's about wrap it up for this one. Everybody out there, thank you for listening. Check out our merch store, midtierthoughts.com, and we'll catch you on the next one.
Yeah, dude.
Bye.
All right.